Any ETAs on applicator, Ali? Also, the Omnium Brain app was redesigned and it came with new earphones and earbuds. There's no change to the actual screen or the treatment protocols, but with the new LCD touchscreen and the new capabilities of it, you're going to have brighter colors as well as a more crisp sound. Here are some of the specs that are with the tablet. If people are interested in what type of memory storage, the type of LCD screen, the battery charging management system, there's no Bluetooth, but there is Wi-Fi. You could have that Wi-Fi shut off. You would just need to utilize it if there's ever an upgrade needed for the software. With the two Omnium and the Omnium 2.0, the applicators as well as the DA converter all work with the individual units. The only restriction that's going to be is the new optional adapter that will be coming out where you'll be able to plug in the 3 applicators simultaneously. That will only work with the newly designed DA converter.
Right.
And then, of course, you have the 2 standard applicators, the OmniMat and the OmniPad, and then you also have the optional OmniSpot. With OmniMat, it comes in a trifold, so it does have a more portability feature to it versus the IMRS. And it also has the standard, the same as the IMRS, the triple sawtooth wave impulse and the magnetic field strength, the maximum at the 400 setting, the 45 microtesla. The Omnium Pad, which is the more localized and utilizes square wave impulse, has a maximum field strength about 70 microtesla. And then the OmniSpot, which utilizes the Helmholtz effect, also utilizes a square wave and 120 microtesla max. It also has a fixed belt, so you can attach it to various areas, knees, ankles, wrists, depending on what you're treating.
Shoulder, very important. Lots of people use it on their shoulder.
And you always can also open it up. So it always doesn't need to. You can lay it across the shoulder as well. It's very versatile depending on what area of the body you're targeting with the magnetic field. And that is the review of the newer features with the Omnium 1.
Okay. Is also available in your back office. And there's also a PowerPoint available. And now I think we're just gonna talk about, if you want to do that, Greg, the features and benefits, because these are a lot of the questions that we get from people. What is the difference between the IMRS and the Omnium? And what are the features and benefits and the selling points of the Omnium? So we're just going to do a little comparison between the IMRS and the Omnium. The Omnium is actually the same as the IMRS. Do you get those questions a lot too, Greg?
Yes.
Yeah. So it is the same. Meaning, the reason why the Omnium is called IMRS 1 is because it has the same frequencies, the same intensities, the same coils, the same triple sawtooth waveform, the same square wave. But other than that, it is exactly the same. So there is no, do I get better results with the IMRS than I do with the Omnium or vice versa? That is not the case. Now, the only prominent difference, actually there are more than one prominent differences, but when it comes to using applicators, the OmniSpot is different from the probe. Because, like Greg mentioned before, it has the Helmholtz effect. So as soon as the two circles are opposite from each other, the magnetic field meets in the middle and creates a Helmholtz effect. So you get magnetic fields in the area of your joint, your knee, your shoulder. You get like a double whammy, I call it, right in the middle, and it penetrates right to the area. And this is not possible with the probe, right? And the other difference is that the Omnium is more portable because the mat can be folded one more time, making it the size of a gym bag when you've got everything together. And you can travel with it. It is more lightweight, and you can take it anywhere. And we are the only company that has an Android-based PEMF system in the world. And it was the reason why we designed that was in response to the customer's need to be able to use a full-fledged, powerful PEMF system without depending on an electrical outlet. So it makes it possible for people to use it outdoors, on a plane, on a boat, on a RV.
Take it to work.
You can take it to work, exactly. You can take it around, like I take it in my place. You know, I take it from here to there, and I find myself, since I'm using the Omnium, I use a lot more PEMF because I can move it around everywhere. And I can also use it on the plane, and I can use it when I travel somewhere.
You have a long commute.
Yeah, I sit on it. You do too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so this, and also I find from a price point, you know, it is actually, in my view, it is the PEMF system that every other PEMF system on the market wants to be, because it is at a price point of $4,299, which includes the mat and the pillow. That's your basic set. So there is no PEMF system on the market that has this capability and allows you to use it anywhere by just using a powerful battery. And so once the battery is fully charged, the Omnium runs for about 6 hours. Do you find that too, Greg?
I would say, depending on what intensity and applicators you're utilizing, I would say anywhere between 4 to 6 hours is a good, average.
Yeah, if you would use it on 400, for instance, it may only last for 4 hours.
In the spot. So if you're constantly using the spot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, great. Okay, so, and it's also, it's fun. It looks sophisticated. And I have found over the last 4 years that, with all the Wi-Fi and everything going on, people seem to be concerned about Wi-Fi and also want to use PEMF for their children to restore self-function again. And I have found that children and teenagers are much more likely to use the Omnium than they are the IMRS, because the Omnium is cool, okay? And anything else as far as basics you would like to add? I'm sure Greg has a lot of knowledge too.
I would say one of the reasons why I gravitated to the Omnium is also the construction of it. The whole body mat, the coils are embedded in a more firmer cardboard housing. So when you have it on a wooden floor or a stone floor, it gives you more of an ability to step on top of it. So you have more of a flexibility integrating it into athletic protocols. If you're doing any type of stretching, you're able to integrate it more into type of a yoga or meditative practice. And as far as the Omni Pad, what I really love about that is also its stability, because in order to use it consistently and get the benefits of magnetic stimulation, I keep my OmniPad on my desk chair. So anytime I'm on emails, I'm looking something up on the internet, I'm looking through orders, I have the device going and I'm sitting on it, or I have it on the floor and I have my feet on it. So it's great for integrating it into your life in order to use it consistently and get the real benefits of it.
Excellent. Great. And can we see now the Omnium?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'll have to see how long I can hold it there. And I think I pull it up as needed. And you are also welcome to ask questions. And because I think the whole purpose of this webinar is not only to point out the benefits and the features and the improved usability, but also for you to feel free to ask questions. So we have the first one that is, have the programming bugs be resolved? Yes. How do you update the programming to the new 2.0? That is not possible, okay? Because as Greg was mentioned before, this is a brand new tablet with a very, very different battery function than the former. So you cannot upgrade to the 2.0, but from the Omnium 1.0 system, the programming bugs have been resolved. So you shouldn't have a problem, right? My Android display is malfunctioning. Today it displays with lines going across the screen. Perhaps it's just a reset or system update. It is a factory reset. Okay, so I'm not sure if I can do this properly here. You don't need to see me if you see the screen. Hang on. Oops. I'm doing it upside down. Hang on. Maybe not a good way of doing it.
You have to tilt it a little more so we can see the actual screen. Like on the camera, there you go. Now we can see it.
Okay, so then I have to do it from up here. Because I want to go back here. I say yes. I scroll up. So for the person who wants to do a factory or needs to do a factory reset, you go into settings, and then you go all the way down to system, language, backup, and so on, right? And you can click in here, and then it lets you do hang on, not in mine. It gives you reset option. Data. And when you do a factory reset, you have to erase all your data and then allow the tablet to do a reboot or restart on its own, okay? So that should be for Deidre. So it is it's an update or a factory reset that you should do, and that should take care of your problem.
And those instructions are also at omnium1.com, frequently asked questions.
Right. And in your manual. I find our people don't read manuals. Shannon, should you use the full body mat before doing that, Greg? That was a question Shannon had to you, Greg.
Yes, every morning I do my stretches on top of the whole body mat. So that's how I integrate the use of the whole body mat prior to any of the Omnium pad usage. Then, after I've done my stretches or whatnot, I usually sit down for the morning in order to check my emails and check the computer and see what happened. And then I get on the OmniPad, which is in the desk chair.
Perfect. Question answered. Next question was, can we record this? Yes, you can. but it will be recorded by us too. And hopefully the sound quality is good enough so we can have a link for this recording in one of our next newsletters. So next question was to me, given that the frequencies and intensities of the Omnium is the same as the IMRS, are you able to use the Omnium more frequently than every 6 hours than the IMRS? No, it's the same. You can use the Omnium or IMRS every 4 hours if you like, right? I mean, you can use it, should use it a minimum of twice a day and a maximum of 1 whole hour, and that only applies to the whole body mat. People always have a problem when we say you shouldn't use it any more than an hour a day. You need to understand that we are talking about 2 different waveforms. The whole body mat works on every single cell in the body to optimize cell function, to allow the body to heal and repair. And it also keeps your entire bodily function at an optimum level. So the whole body mat has to be like brushing your teeth, anywhere from 2 to 4 times a day. And then when it comes to the pillows for either IMRS or Omnium or the Pro or the Omni Spot, you can use it as often as you like. I mean, I'm a bit excessive, right? When I had my severe back pain, I was doing 2 or 3 hours on my back at 200, right? I was doing it constantly. So you cannot overdo it really with the mat, with the pillow or the spot. But I have to say, ideally, it is better to use the pillow and the spot 4, 5, or 3 to 6 times a day at 20 minutes or half an hour for pain than it is using it once for 3 hours. Would you agree?
I would agree. And also it's very, very simple. The system, once you set your local time, utilizes the organ clock in order to decide what frequency packets in order to produce through the magnetic field generator. So you do not need to know what frequency, what do I set it at. With this device, it was designed to be simply used. And basically, there's no secret intensity, there's no secret duration. The key to this device is consistent use.
Yeah, and we cannot stretch enough.
And the frequencies are all determined in the upper right-hand corner when you see the morning, noon, night, and evening. It is utilizing the local time, which is based on the circadian rhythms of the body. That's how the Fourier analysis was derived. So as far as the frequencies, those have already been built into the intelligence of the system, hence IMRS. The intensity is kind of just like the volume. It is all user preference. There's no specific correlation to intensity or any type of disease or illness. It is really an individualized intensity is all individualized based on your own body's energetics. So the best way to start is to follow Wolfie's Law, which is also available. And that gives you the best way to start utilizing the device. And the only thing you really need to know is use it. Consistent usage. And if you're not sure what times to set or what intensities, follow Wolfie's Law to start. And then after a week or so, feel free to explore the intensities and see how you feel on the different settings.
Right. And with the Omnium, it's even been made easier for people because you have the 5 programs, right? that are I should have set my screensaver for longer. So for instance, in the evening, if you press sleep, it will now say DA converter. Oh no, yes. Let me just press sleep again. It's 24 minutes and the intensity is 10. If you press performance, 12 minutes, the intensity is 50, but it changes, okay? It goes down to 25, it goes up to 100. And this is all pre-designed to make your life so much easier so that you can just press the button and it automatically starts. And most people use these programs. And I sometimes, if I do regeneration, I sometimes do it twice, right? If I'm really, like if I've just, let's say I've just done activation in the morning for 12 minutes, and then in the evening, I'm really in the mood to lie on my mat and I read a book, and I sometimes do it twice because it just feels good, right? And so now we have more questions. Is there a case? I've got a whole bunch of questions. I should do them. Is there a case for the new tablet? Yes. And if you go to your back office, if you're a representative, or if you are just a customer, you ask your representative who sold you the unit, there is a price list, and the price for the new one is on that. How do you update the programming in the 2.0, not from the previous system? Well, there's no new upgrades for the 2.0 new tablet at this time. If there was, you would get a message if there was an update, or you go into your settings tablet, just like I showed you before, updates, and just like any other Android tablet, right? And if you do any upgrades, make sure you're online, because you have to be on Wi-Fi or online somewhere for the purpose of upgrading anything. But at this point, there isn't. I travel with my mat frequently, but I've had problems with the cable connection. As I put the mat in and out of the travel bag, it is putting pressure on the connection. In my experience, the mat starts to work intermittently and then the cable disconnects. I believe that the travel bag is a bit too tight. Okay, you're correct on one point. The older travel bags were a little bit too tight. The newer ones are not. And when you say it's putting pressure on the connection, do I assume correctly that you do not disconnect your mat from your converter? So if you have your mat screwed into the converter while you pack it, that's not the way to take care of your product, okay? So everything has to be disconnected, or you will be putting pressure on not only the mat, but the cable and the converter. Correct, Greg? Would you agree?
Yes.
Yes. Can you close the blinds behind you? Oh, okay, hang on. Somebody wants me to close the blinds. I will do that.
Someone had asked the question in regards to what's the difference between 8 minutes and what's the difference between 10 minutes and doing 25 intensity and 10 intensity. It's making it way too complicated. In theory, there really is no difference when you're utilizing a weak magnetic field pulse. The difference is how your own individual body responds to the receiving of the energy. And generally, the only way to find out what works best for you is trial and error. Try 8 minutes on 25 and 8 minutes with 10 minutes and see how you feel. But there are no correlations with diseases, with illnesses, with cures, with nothing by going from 8 minutes at 25 to 10 minutes at sensitive. That is not set up like that in order to treat the body. There's no correlation in regards to it. It is really a user preference. And once you start with Wolfie's Law, feel free to experiment. Who have been utilizing it for several years, I use generally 16 minutes or 20 minutes with the pillow pad, and generally anywhere between 8 to 12 minutes with a whole body mat, depending on what I'm trying to accomplish. But getting too deep, whether you use 25 intensity or 10 intensity, is making it way too complicated, because really usage consistency is where your friend is going to be when it comes to magnetic resonance stimulation.
Yeah. Okay. And perfect. There was someone else. Can you start more generally instead of specific question? What frequency or
These
how
are the
long?
ones I was answering.
Pardon?
I said those were the ones I was answering when we went through the organ clock.
When I was doing the blinds. Okay, perfect. All right. Where can I get a manual? Does the manual indicate how and when to increase the sensitivity? The manual comes with your unit, and there is also a PDF in the back office. It's 15 or 16 pages long, and it tells you exactly how to get the most out of your Omnium. And everyone should download that. And everyone who sold a PEMF system should have that handy for their customer, right? It's an amazing PDF. And it also includes Wolfie's Law in that PDF. And you can also download Wolfie's Law individually in your back office. And what Greg was referring to before, that you would start, if you manually set your Omnium, you would start with 8 minutes at 25. You would do that in the morning, and you would, and this is just the whole body mat. And you would do that at noon, and in the evening, you would do 8 minutes at 10. And you may want to do that for a few days, and then you want to try and increase the intensity to 50 in the morning and see whether it gives you more energy. So this is how you would basically use it. If you use the 5 programs, and I always find them fairly self-explanatory, right? So you would use activation or performance in the morning, right? For the average person, it would be activation. If you want to go on a run or a walk, or you go to the gym, or you're like Greg, our US president, who is with us on the webinar, who's super fit, you would do performance, right, Greg?
Exactly.
Exactly. And then in the afternoon, you would either use relaxation or regeneration. The relaxation is the type of program that sort of puts you at ease without making you sleepy. And regeneration, you would use when you don't feel well, or when you are exhausted, or after you had a workout, right? And sleep, I think everyone would know when to use that one. So this is how simple and easy it is. Shelley, I spoke with a client today who was told by an MD that PEMF does not reach brain hypothalamus to help with tremors. I wasn't sure how to respond, as she was very adamant. Well, first of all, we are not doctors. I mean, Greg is
not a doctor.
No, but...
we're not treating any diseases or illnesses with this device.
Yes. And the doctor, and here's my thing, and I'm going to be bold. To get advice from a doctor about PEMF who doesn't have a PEMF system, I think is the most dangerous, because then, if a doctor says it doesn't help with this and that, then you are automatically cutting yourself off from using a PEMF system and experiencing the benefits. And while we cannot say that it helps or it gets rid of tremors, I have had quite a few people who had tremors from Parkinson, and it has helped them a lot, including the father of our CEO, who is, I think it must be 17 or 18 years or longer, that he is on a PEMF system. So, yeah, and Danny, hi, Danny. Danny Lee, it's you I will see soon. She says, I have a friend with Parkinson who's had amazing results with a reduction in tremor. Okay. So sometimes, there's a dividing line between rigid medical advice and just trying something out. Because here's the thing. You can never hurt yourself by trying out a PEMF system as long as you follow the indications that we have, which is pregnancy, pacemaker, or for that matter, electronic implants, and epilepsy. All right?
And also, a good point to remember is that, yes, it does help people, but it's not focused on helping or targeting their Parkinson's. What it is focused on is helping improve their quality of life while they're dealing with this chronic disease or illness. But the device is not targeting any specific disease or illness. It is just looking to improve the quality of those lives.
Okay, another question here. Can we please repeat how long and often we can stay on the mat? I feel like I'm a little cocoon when I lay, and I feel like I could stay there for hours on end. Well, I wouldn't do hours on end, okay, because this is what you are describing is when somebody has their PEMF system new, like anything else in North America, people want to overdo it, okay? You are much better off instead of staying on there for hours to do it 2 or 3 times a day for 8, 16, or 24 minutes than you are for hours in one shot with the whole body mat, right? So we cannot repeat this often enough to say, and you said it before too, Greg, it is much more beneficial and you get much better results if you go on 3 times a day for 8 minutes than once a day for 16 minutes, right? And if you want to stay on for an hour, I can't disagree with you, but don't expect better results because you stay on for an hour, right? What is Wolfie's Law? We said that already. When someone tries for the first time, should they use the quick start? Shannon, there are no shoulds, but if I sell somebody an Omnium, I tell them to use the pre-programmed settings for the whole body mat because it makes their life easier, and that's what it's there for, right? And then there was also a question, not in this webinar, but I had it many times before, and it was, well, Ali, you're saying we should go on for 8 minutes in the evening, but the sleep program on the Omnium is 24. We are saying you should do a minimum of 8 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day. That's the bare minimum. And if you go and use the sleep program and it has 24 minutes, then that is sort of to help you to get over the edge and fall asleep. If you don't have 24 minutes, you're welcome to get off after 12 minutes or after 8 minutes, correct? Would you agree, Greg?
I would agree.
Yeah, so we can't make this complicated, and we are not doctors. And Greg said it before too, and I want to repeat it. It's the regularity with which you use it that gets you the results. Like, for instance, I give you a little example. I spoke with somebody today about a person that has fibromyalgia and goes to someone 3 times a week for the fibromyalgia pain. Okay, so this woman has fibromyalgia and she only experiences the Omnium 3 times a week for her fibromyalgia, that woman would not only experience a little bit of less pain and a little bit of less prescription drugs from her doctor, she'd probably be without pain if she had that system at home and would use it 2 or 3 times every day. And we cannot, that's the beauty of the Omnium, right? Because it doesn't deal with a particular disease. It deals with the cause of whatever disease it is that you have, because every disease starts on the cell level. It's about time we got over our diseases and stopped being married to our diseases and just looked at our PEMF system, which, by the way, is a resonance system. We don't have a high-powered system. And we looked at, let me take care of my body on the cell level. And if I make sure every day that my cells are at the optimum functioning, my body will heal and repair automatically, right? And that is what I cannot stress enough. How is using the programs different from 8 minutes? What are the benefits? Okay. There are no pros or cons, okay? 25, intensity 25 in the morning for 8 minutes and intensity 10 in the evening for 8 minutes is a must. Everything beyond that is an added bonus. So what we are saying is, if you don't have any time at all, at least do the 8 minutes at 25 in the morning. If you do have time, do the program, right?
And when it comes to the whole body mat as well, in the evening, the way I work that in is I utilize it while I'm watching TV on the sofa. Now, I don't necessarily lay on top of it, but I lay the mat on top of myself in the reclining chair. And that's how I utilize it, because, I mean, I'm always watching at least an hour of TV in the evening. So I integrate my whole body mat the second time that day while I'm watching TV.
Yeah, exactly. So just don't be afraid of it. Just make it part of your life.
Use it. Yeah.
Use it, right?
I look at the time, I look at the intensity, and whatever my gut tells me to set it at is what I put it at. What do I feel like for this hour with my PEMF unit? There's really no rhyme or reason or secret code to the time and the intensity. The iGuide is not correlated to any disease or illness. No. The iGuide is a non-linear setup where specific times and intensities that individuals had reported as favorable is the reason why those are chosen, but they're not in any correlation based on a disease or illness. It is just a guide to, well, what intensity and time should I start with? Well, right. Here are some recommendations from nonlinear analysis of what you could start with. And this is a way that people were able to correlate that and begin usage. Yeah. But they're not, they don't have any type of correlation to any diseases or illnesses.
And if you look closely, they more or less reflect Wolfie's law anyway. But tonight we don't want to talk about the IMRS. I'm just, because this is an Omnium, and Greg and I will do an IMRS one down the road, correct? Are we?
Correct, but you don't need the iGuide.
No. The iGuide...
if you use it consistently, it is better than the iGuide. When people ask me, well, what intensity should I use? Well, what time should I use? I say, show me that you're using it consistently, then we can talk about times and intensities. After you show consistent use of the Wolfie's Law, then it is time to then take it to the next step. But the first obstacle is consistent use with Wolfie's Law.
That is the answer to everything. And just a little joke on the side, I always say to people, we invented the iGuide for people in North America because we found that people in North America are so tied to their diseases. So let's take somebody that, has fibromyalgia. It becomes my fibromyalgia. I live with fibromyalgia. It's such an acceptance of a disease that people cannot separate from their disease, and they only feel that something helps them that is directly geared to their disease, because they don't understand their body as a whole on the cell level, right? So the iGuide was invented so people in North America, I've never used the iGuide in my life, so people in North America can just go and dial in their disease and click, and it's all done for them. But you're much more empowered when you are a little bit adventurous and consistent. So the next question was...
Because also when you are looking at what times and intensities and listening to yourself intuitively to make that decision, and you truly understand how frequencies work, you will not want to be talking about diseases or illnesses. You will be wanting to talk about health and wellness, regeneration, recovery, performance. You will want to, because even if you are dealing with a chronic disease or illness, all of those mechanisms will help improve the quality of your life.
Exactly. Okay, wonderful, Greg. Next question. I was told I should not be near any metal. That is not true. And your therapist has the Omnium mat loaded on a metal-legged massage table. No problem. Metal is no problem. So that also answers if anyone has a question when it comes to metal implants, there's no problem, right? I had someone try the mat for the first time, and after 15 minutes, she was crying as she was experiencing a lot of pain. My guess, you probably had it too high, and I don't know what setting you had it, and you probably didn't give her just 8 minutes at 25, or a regeneration and program at low intensities, and she experienced what's called a healing crisis. Where symptoms intensify before they get better. So without knowing what settings you use, I can't answer that really. We're not treating diseases or illnesses. However, people are looking to improve their pain or quality of life because of their illness. Therefore, though we cannot make these claims, really we are helping to treat conditions. How do we position this? A little confused as to where to draw the line with people.
It's easy. Unless you're a healthcare professional, you don't talk about diseases, diagnoses, and illnesses, and you focus on improving that individual's quality of life. How can I help you lead a better quality of life? Sometimes that's for an individual who this is the first time they had proper circulation in their feet and they were able to go into the backyard and play with their granddaughter. That changes their life 100%. Were we treating their disease or illness? No. We improve the quality of their life while they're dealing with a chronic disease or illness.
Yes. And instead, and we're going to do that when we're going to do a business workshop for those who want to sell and want to deal with this issue. That'll be another topic, an Omnium or IMRS business workshop, how to talk about it. So it isn't so much how you talk about it, because what a lot of people do is they come with research, they come with this, they come with that, and they bombard people with information about their disease. Instead of asking exactly what you just said, Greg, instead of asking the person, would you like to have more energy? Who's going to say no to that?
Quality of sleep.
Yeah. Would you like to have better quality of sleep? Yeah. Okay. Would you have better memory? Yep. Would you like to have less pain? Yep. Would you like to have better digestion? Yeah. Would you like to have an improved nervous system? Yeah. So ask them, right, what they would like to have, because when you really look at it, disease ensures a poor quality of life on many fronts and more levels than one. And most people don't just have one disease, because there's like another disease on top of it, right? But by simply making an effort to help them improve the quality of their life, and the improvement of quality of life can be felt with a PEMF system just like that, right? That's the first stepping stone. And don't overdo it with intensities. A lot of people say, or our reps say, oh, I'm going to put that person on for 16 minutes at 400 because I want them to feel something, right? And sometimes that backfires by intensified pain or even exhaustion because that was too much for that person, right?
Exactly. The actual intended use of the IMRS is the generation of specified magnetic field pulses for the increased probability of ionic movement. And when you're increasing the probability of ionic movement inside the body, you're increasing the probability of a better metabolism. And metabolism is considered every single chemical reaction that happens in your body. And that is really what you're utilizing to improve the people's quality of life.
Yeah. So someone says their Omnium randomly shuts down during a program, I presume. Again, factory.
Also try the screensaver. It may be set for like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Screensaver, if it doesn't, when you have a screensaver, so let's say I have a screensaver here, and I think this is important because some people, thank you guys for reminding me. When people have a screensaver, right, that means that when the treatment is running, the screen goes black in 30 seconds. Okay, mine is, I think, set for 30 seconds because I want to conserve battery. So then in 30 seconds, the screen would go black, but it doesn't mean the tablet shuts off. And the application that you have selected is still running in the background. Okay, and to restore it, once the screen goes black, you just simply press this little button here once, and it goes back to your session screen, right? And if you want to see the screen longer, you go into your settings tablet under settings, and you find display. And then you can extend the time of the screensaver. So you can set it for longer. So you can watch your whole, you can set it for 15 or 20 minutes, but then you're going to drain your battery a lot faster because this uses up battery. If you find that it still shuts down, do a factory reset. Right, under settings, and erase all data and start from scratch. No, you do, like when we say erase all data, it's only the steps and everything that you have done while you've owned the tablet. It doesn't erase your programs or anything. Okay, does it matter what side you lie on for the mat and the pad? Okay, not really. Doesn't matter for the mat or the spot at all. However, the Omnium mat has the one side that's a little bit more cushioned than the other, so it is more comfortable, of course, to lie on the more cushioned side, right? It has helped my mother with her fibromyalgia pain and my mother-in-law with stage 4 melanoma cancer. Wonderful. This is what we like to hear. And the reason why PEMF helps with just about everything is because it works on the cell level, right? It restores cell function. And when your cells work at the optimum level, the body can do what it is designed to do to heal and repair. How hard and easy is it to break the coils? Well, it's good for a person up to 300 pounds. Anybody heavier than that should not lie directly on the mat. That person should have the mat on top of their body. And I mean, if you jump on it, you know, or if you bend it right where the coils are, you can break them, right? But as far as breaking coils, that's actually something we rarely had, correct? Did we?
Not with the OmniMat or the OmniPad or the OmniSpot. I mean, I stand on it every day. I do stretches. I touch my toes. I, put it on top of me. I lay on top of it. I've never had an issue with damaging the coils on either the OmniMat or the OmniPad.
Yeah, excellent. So somebody else said, Brenda, sometimes when people lie on our PEMF system or any other PEMF system, I think, the area of concern where people have a health issue is being pointed out. Yes, that can happen. So, for instance, when you go on it and you experience pain in your knee, all of a sudden that you never had before, maybe you had an old injury, right? Or maybe you had like a fracture in there that hasn't healed. So sometimes it will point out a particular disease or pain or ache that you haven't felt before. And that is because, maybe that's an injured part of your body and there is poor circulation and you're not even aware of it, right? So that's actually a good thing. How do you install music? Okay, if you go to omnium1.com under frequently asked questions, it tells you how to put music on your Omnium. You would definitely need a micro SD card to do that.
And the easiest way to start is once you get that micro SD card from an Office Depot, a Target, any place like that, they're relatively inexpensive. You can go to the omnium1.com website, go to the Omnium Brain section, and you can download MP3 files that are already prepared. The instructions are right there. Yeah. So there's already a preset music. And I just spoke with someone today who had done that, and they said it worked perfectly.
Yep. There's so much more in your back office than you know. Could you please explain the benefits of PEMF? I think we've done that quite well tonight, don't you think? I heard it is dangerous to use the iPad or high frequencies on the head, like 400. Is that true? Well, not everybody can tolerate it, but more importantly, it is not necessary, right? And especially, people have asked me if somebody has a brain tumor, if they should put the spot around the head at 400. We cannot comment on that because everybody responds different, right? So we do not recommend to use 400 in the head area, right? Client with peripheral neuropathy was fine with several sessions on PEMF. Then one day his old pain issue returned. He blamed it on PEMF causing his pain to come back. Could this pain be due to being toxins removed from the nerves? So now the nerves are able to feel. I think that condition was not totally dealt with, and he should have just continued to use PEMF and he'll be fine, right? It is not the screensaver when it randomly shuts down. I'm aware of what the screensaver is. I mean, the tablet shuts off and it's also charged. Okay, factory reset, right? Erase all data. That's Earl and Charlotte and start all over. If that doesn't solve the problem, and I'm not sure whether you're talking about an old or a brand new tablet at this point, if that doesn't solve it, then you would go to www.swissbionic.com, top right, support, and create a ticket. And then whatever country you're in, whether in the US or Canada, either the US office or the Canadian office will deal with that ticket and do troubleshooting with you, right? And if the tablet needs to come back, then it needs to come back. And if we can't fix it in 48 hours, you get a new one. So there you go. I hope this helps. Okay, when would you use the OmniPad? Does it matter which side? No, we covered that one. Do you need to use more minutes on the OmniMat rather than the OmniPad? No, not necessarily. Again, consistently. When would you use the OmniPad? Okay, anywhere when you have chest pain, whether you have pneumonia, whether you have breast cancer, whether you have an upset stomach, whether you have kidney problems, so on your back for sure, right? Your knees, your hips. So any area in the body, a specific area that has pain, disease, tumors, inflammation, you would use the pad, right? And you don't need to use more minutes. Again, what Greg has been stressing all this time, it is the consistency with which you use it. And that is such...
Yes, it's the time-weighted average of magnetic exposure.
Right. So you are better off using it. Let's say if someone has back pain or breast cancer, to use the pad 3 times a day for 16 minutes, let's say at 200, instead of using it once for an hour, right? So I hope that I had a pinched nerve, was unable to walk. I used the mat first, then I slept on the pad and used it continuously. It helped reduce the swelling, and I was able to stretch out my muscles. I'm better after 3 days. I believe in the mat wholeheartedly, but I would like to have people use the mat before there is an issue. Yes, we want people, even if they don't have a health problem, we want you to use it so you stay healthy. This is your first line of defense in this day and age, in this environment, right?
There's a great doctor in Orange County, California, an MD, and he describes PEMF simply as when you treat the body with a magnetic field stimulation, what you're doing is you're clearing out the blockages, whether they be energetic, circulatory. And when you clear out the blockages, just like if there's a blockage on the highway, when you clear out the blockages, traffic can start to get through, ambulance can get through, food deliveries can start to get through, city can get the reserves. And really, in general, that's what the PEMF is, helping the body remove dysfunction and blockages energetically.
Perfect. Okay, Mutka, yes, we are recording this, and then we hope to be successful in editing it and have it as a link in one of our newsletters. I know you came on later. How do I know whether my mat is functioning? There are meters out there where you can measure the electromagnetic field output on your mat. And there are also apps on a cell phone that you can download for free, and they're called magnetic field detectors. And they're not always 100% reliable, but I think they're good enough to download the app and turn it on and put it on your mat. And when you get the signal out, that means your mat is working. And also, if your mat wasn't working with the Omnium, it would give you an error message on your screen saying copper coil error. So as long as you don't have that, you're good. Okay. Anything you would like to add, Greg?
No, I mean, I think that covers it. And again, if you have anybody with any type of issue, in the back office, there is an application sheet, and it goes Monday through Sunday. And you can actually write down, this is where you should use it. And you can record the consistency, because I don't think it can be stressed enough that if you used it consistently, you're going to get a better quality of life, regardless of whether you're someone dealing with this disease or that disease. It's regardless. And in order to help anyone, you really need to get them to integrate it into their lifestyle on a consistent basis. And whether that means that how I use it 4 times a day, like I said, I use the OmniMat in the morning for stretching. I have the OmniPad on my chair, and I use that throughout the day, at least 3 times a day, for anywhere between 16 to 20 minutes when I'm sitting down at the computer, where most of us spend at least a couple hours on the computer a day. There's a perfect opportunity. You can put it on the floor and put it on your feet. You can sit on it. You can use it on your back. You can lay it in your lap while you're on the computer, or while you're watching TV, or while you're watching Netflix. Don't make it too difficult. The key is finding a place where you're going to get consistent use. And if you're using it 2, 3, 4 times a day, regardless of the issue, you are going to have quality life improvements.
Yeah. Okay, great. We can't stress this enough. What would be the best intensity and site to place the pad after regeneration for a young adult with stroke paralysis? I can't even, it's my German. Paralysis, right?
Yes.
Okay. Whole body mat, twice a day, 3 times a day, 8 minutes at intensity 25, in the evening intensity 10, or the regeneration program twice a day. And for the pad, you can put the arm and the hand on the pad, and you can do that 8 to 16 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day at 100. It's a young adult, 100 or 200, right? And again, consistency. There have been amazing results with stroke victims. Next question, can you lay the mat on a bed or a sofa, or does it have to be on a hard surface? It should be a firm surface, so it shouldn't be a bed that sinks through, or a sinking sofa. But I have it on my sofa, and I use it on my bed. I use it in different places, right? As long as it's not too soft. How do you change the time? Okay, you go under settings, time, and then with the new Omnium, you'd have to go online once to use network provided time. Okay, and then you select your time zone. So like I'm in Eastern Standard Time. And once you've done that, then the device keeps the time and you can go off Wi-Fi, but you have to be on Wi-Fi.
For the 1 hour recording, we have 1 more minute.
1 more minute. I thought you should avoid having cell phone on the mats. That I think is in response to using an app called Magnetic Field Detector. It's a free app, and once it's downloaded on your cell phone, you don't have to be on Wi-Fi to use it. Okay. Anymore? I wish you could have had this webinar. It would have been good to try to sell more. Yes, Connie. But anyone, if you need, help. Hi, Terry. If you need help, you reach out to the person who sold you that system. If you are unsuccessful reaching this person, or you don't get the help that you need, go in your back office, and you can always reach out to your office in your country. I mean, there's only so much we can do, and that I know you people all need information, and I like to do more of these trainings so people understand how to use the Omnium. And our next training would be, we haven't set a date yet, so summer's coming along, right, Greg?
Exactly.
Yeah, but we'll send out the dates in the newsletter, and I think there'll be one on the IMRS and one on selling PEMF and helping the world. That's what we want to do. And if we want to help many, many people to get better instead of just one person at a time, then we cannot make this whole thing complicated. Consistency is the answer. Okay? Thank you, everyone, for being with us tonight. And thank you, Greg. And thank you, Allie.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.